All right, welcome everybody. 6 o'clock, so we're getting going. I'm Becky Bellini. I'm one of the counselors here at Cal. I see the attendees kind of streaming in here, so we'll give it a little bit of time to get everybody in. Thanks everybody for logging on tonight. We're going to be going over essentially everything that parents and students need to know as they start thinking about senior year. So we're here for this last year with us. Excited to share all this information. We've collected some questions ahead of time. Hopefully we'll be able to cover all of it, and we'll have some options for questions. I think in your window there, you should have a Q&A button. So that's there for you to use as needed. For the Q&A, we really do encourage you to try to keep your questions on topic to what we're covering in that moment, because there's a good chance that we're going to cover whatever it is that you're asking about later on in the presentation. And then towards the end, there'll be kind of an open question time. So we'll try to cover everything. It does get difficult to answer real student-specific questions in this setting, obviously. So you're always welcome to reach out to your student's counselor directly with questions that are more specific, or students, if you're on the call too, just dropping by your counselor's office during their office hours, or the drop-in times during lunch and after school and all that, to ask more specific to you types of questions, because obviously we have to be somewhat general in these kinds of presentations. Okay, I'm just kind of watching our attendees. We're getting going here. Okay, I think I will just go ahead and get started at 6:02. Okay, so like I said, I'm Becky Bellini. I'm one of the counselors here, and I'll be running the presentation tonight. We also have another counselor on the call in the background, Kelly Falcone, managing the Q&A. There she is, to help keep everything running. We are recording this as well, so don't feel like you need to feverishly take notes, or if if this is an inconvenient time for you, we are going to record and post it to our YouTube page. So all of this will be available for you at another time as needed. Okay, so gonna jump right in. So we're going to talk about registration for classes. We're going to talk about college and career information. Obviously, that's most pressing on your mind, and hopefully cover anything that you're wondering about. We'll talk about transcripts, where to find them, how to read them, and how to know your own progress towards graduation, your students' progress towards graduation. We'll talk a little bit about the online registration process. Thankfully, that has not changed at all in all the years you've been with us. So that is the same. And then one major change is we are changing our college and career platform. We used to use Naviance, and now we have a new program called School Links, a much improved program as far as we're concerned. We already introduced it to the students, the 11th grade students in class last week or the week before. So we'll kind of cover that with parents and show you what that's all about. We always like to start with a who is my counselor slide. It's important. That changes a little bit year to year, but also sometimes. So it's good to know who your counselor is. We have our alphabet breakdown there. So find your student's last name in the alphabet breakdown, and there is your counselor. We have additional support counseling too with Corinne Nowak. She's our student support counselor, Miss Goldenberg in the Wellness Center, and Miss Nichols in the Career Center. So all those people you see there, our entire job is to help students. So we are here for all the things: social emotional support, academic support, college and career planning, all of the things. So there is your people. Okay, first and foremost, registering for classes for senior year. So for seniors, there are two requirements that all seniors must do: English and Gov and Econ. I guess that's three, Gov and Econ. All of the choices are listed there. For English, there is a handful depending on the student's interest. All of those courses that you see listed count for the English requirement for a senior year, the 10 credits of English requirement. The next is Gov and Econ. So We have AP options for both government and econ. Both AP Econ and AP Gov are both year-long courses, so the students will be in both of them the entire year. And then regular Gov and Econ are just one semester each. You take one after the other. So students obviously can take regular Gov and Econ, just take it one semester each. If they're interested in taking AP Gov or AP Econ, they just need to know that they don't have to do both. So if you choose AP Econ, then you can take one semester of regular Gov or year-long AP Gov and one semester Econ. So any of those options work. It's just important that you do have to take both. So you have to have a Gov class and you have to have an Econ class, and those are required for graduation. And then what's over there on the right side of the screen are just the other classes they might consider. A math course, we really do like to see students take math all 4 years. For college, 3 years just through Algebra 2 is what's required. But again, we do like to see students continuing on in math. Science, a 3rd or 4th year, are recommended for college-bound students. World language, again, if you've done your 2 years that are required for college admissions, you could do a 3rd or 4th year depending on your interest. And then obviously we have many electives. So the students were handed last week like a goldenrod course selection sheet. And on the back of that lists all of the classes that they can take. So all the wonderful art classes, visual art, performing art, all of the electives that there are to choose from. And so students, are maybe wondering like, well, how do I find out about these classes? Obviously, we have the course catalog. We have a new and improved course catalog posted on our website. So we really encourage you to click into that, learn more about the course description. But this Friday, so the day after tomorrow, we have a course offerings fair at lunch for the students. And a lot of our elective teachers are coming out, setting up tables and sharing with the students what their class is all about. So we really recommend students go in. We have a long lunch on Friday just for this purpose. So you can go into the event center and see what your classes are all about. So we really recommend you do that to learn more specifically about all the different classes and programs that we have. And then for seniors, you have the option of having an unscheduled period. So all students have to take at least 5 classes at Cal High. So you could have an open 5th or 6th period or an open 1st or 2nd period if you want to come in late. So that's an option too, assuming that you're on track for credits for graduation. Here's the course catalog I was referring to. It's linked on our page and through the district page. You can edit, you can filter it just to see just the classes that are offered at Cal High. And then obviously down there on the left, the different departments that the classes fall into, you can find all the information about the courses there. Okay, we'd like to talk a little bit about non-district courses because we know a lot of students do take classes outside of Cal High for a variety of reasons. But first and foremost, and you're going to be seniors now, so you've heard this spiel from us at least 3 times before, but you're in no way required to take any classes off campus to meet high school graduation requirements or college admissions requirements. You have all the time and access you need right in your day at Cal High to get all of that done. So I like to say that because I think sometimes, well, I know sometimes students feel pressured because they hear other people doing things. Again, as rising seniors, you may be past that, but want to make sure you know you don't have to do that to be a competitive college applicant, right? So feedback that we've received from colleges is that they really would prefer to see students take classes at their high school whenever possible. So if a class is offered at Cal High, you should take it at Cal High if it fits in your schedule. Look, sometimes you have a lot of interests. So you've got a couple of art classes or you're in band and you want to take this or that and you don't have, there's just too many things you want to do to fit into a day. And that's one thing. But what we don't want to see you do is take a class online through an outside institution and then have an unscheduled period with us. So they really would prefer you take classes in person in your high school because that's more indicative of how you might do in a college class at their school. It is really important if you do plan to take a non-district course that you follow the process as outlined on the district website of letting us know you're doing that so that we can plan accordingly for your schedule for next year. And this is one that is really important for you all to hear as our rising senior families. If you plan to take a class that's required for graduation off campus, so like English, Gov, Econ, or another class that you might still need to complete for graduation, it needs to be done by the end of first semester. So as we go into winter break, you should be done with that class. Because obviously we need to make sure that you're meeting all the graduation requirements, and we don't like that control being outside of Cal High, because sometimes, things happen with outside institutions that the instructor takes a long time to grade and your final grade isn't posted in time, and we don't want any concern or worry about being done in time to graduate on time, right? So again, if you plan to do this, we highly recommend you don't. Graduation requirements should be taken at Cal, but if you do that, please be done by the end of first semester. And then we do have a link. We'll link these slides on our website so you can use these links. We have the non-district course policy linked there. Okay, online registration. I'm going to kind of zoom through this because you've done this 3 times already. So Infinite Campus Student Portal is where you'll do it. The portal is going to be open starting February 27th and will close on March 3rd. So as you probably remember, you don't need to wake up early on February 27th and get your courses in so you get priority. It does not work like that. The great thing as seniors, you have priority as seniors. So you just need to put your classes in at any time during that window. It doesn't matter at what time during that window, but just get it in by March 3rd and print out that summary sheet. Again, you've done this 3 times. Have your parent or guardian sign it and turn it into us by March 4th. And then the one-on-one meetings that we have with you are going to be the week of March 24th. So during that time, we have a whole junior grad check, we call it, where we go through all the credits that are required for graduation, and we make sure you've either already earned them or they're in progress or you have them planned for next year. We talk to you about your college plans. So, if you have an idea of types of colleges you might want to apply to, or what you're thinking your plan might be, and this is in no way to say that you should have a college list figured out just yet, but we'll be asking you about kind of what you're thinking your plans are so that we can make sure that the courses you're choosing for next year are in line with those goals. So that's the week of March 24th. So as you're thinking about all of this, you can start taking note of the questions you have. And obviously you have to put your classes in before you see your counselor one-on-one. So we really think of the classes you're putting in during that window as your rough draft, right? This is what I'm thinking I need. This is what I'm thinking I want. But then the week of March 24th, I'm going to look at it with my counselor and know that we can change it if needed. So don't be too stressed about getting the classes in and getting it just right, because you'll have a little more time to think about it, and we'll have our eyes on it to see if anything needs to be corrected during that week. And this is through the student portal only, I believe. So I've had some parents try to go through the parent portal, and I don't think it works. So the students have to log in. They can just get in easily through their ClassLink portal right to the registration. And we have posted on our website step-by-step instructions, like click here, then click there, that will, again, they're available on our website if you need that. Okay, so credits and grades. This always causes, some confusion and worry. People want to make sure that they've got everything they need. And inevitably, at the April or May of senior year, we have students coming in like, do I have everything for graduation? It's like, we would make sure that you already knew you didn't before now. So it's really our job to help make sure that this is all met. So while we really do love students to look at their transcript and be thinking about these requirements and kind of, taking accountability and responsibility to make sure they're getting everything they need, we also look at it many times throughout their high school career with us. So we'll be looking at it in the coming weeks to prepare for our one-on-ones, and we'll look at it again at the beginning of the school year next year, and again halfway through the school year. So we really have our eyes on this. But just so you're aware, this is what students need to achieve. So the column in the middle, I guess, are the requirements just to earn a California high school diploma. And on the right are the requirements that you need to go straight to a 4-year university. So those A through G requirements, those are the different categories. You see them on the left there, that are UC and CSU, and honestly, most other colleges in the country require for students to attend straight from high school. So world history, US history, 4 years of English, through Algebra 2. You can kind of go down the chart there. The important difference between these two columns to note is that for high school graduation, a student can earn a D- in any one of these classes or more, and still earn their diploma, because you still earn those 5 credits when you get a D-. But to go straight to a 4-year university, you have to earn a C- or better. So that's the difference there. You'll see that world language isn't actually required for high school graduation. Instead, you can take a fine art and a vocational art. But to go straight to a 4-year, you have to take a year of fine art and 2 years of the same language. 3rd year is recommended for a lot of schools. The next, oops, sorry. And so going down to electives, this one kind of trips some people up from time to time due to the transcript view, which I'm going to show you next. So it says there's 60 credits of electives are required. That always throws people, because they're like, 60 credits of electives, how could I earn that? If you ever earn anything additional in any of the other categories, right? So you took a 3rd year of science, or you took a 3rd year of math, or 2, 3, you were in drama all 4 years, right? All of those credits will go towards the elective credit. So we really don't ever need to worry making sure students earn enough elective credits. It just, that kind of takes care of itself through everything else. And that's the same thing for A through G. I saw quite a few questions coming in about PE, so I wanted to clarify that here. Almost all of our 9th graders took PE 9. So you earned 10 credits of PE freshman year, most of you. So you need to take 1 more year of PE, or earn 10 more credits of PE through playing a sport at Cal High. So you can get 10 credits for playing 1 season of a sport, or you can take another PE class with us next year if you haven't done that yet, you know, like yoga, net sports, cardio fitness, weightlifting, etc. We have lots of options. So there are 20 credits of PE required for high school graduation. Okay, so here I have a transcript for us to look at. Every student has access to their transcripts in Infinite Campus. So you can, again, go through your class portal, click on documents, and you can view these transcripts. We really recommend students look at their transcript after every semester, so that you can be sure that the grades that were recorded are the grades that you believe you earned, right? Because mistakes happen. There's a lot of human error that can happen, and computer error, honestly, that can happen when it comes to recording grades. So you want to take a look at the grades you earned this last semester and make sure that that's what you thought you had earned. And if you feel like there's an error, you go see your teacher now, because it's the teacher who can change the grade, not us. So we don't want to leave errors too long, because say you found an error from 10th grade, you know, what if your teacher no longer works at Cal High, right? That can be a problem. So you want to be able to check every time after every semester and make sure everything is looking correct. And then you can let us know if you see something that's not right. Students should have earned 140 to 150 credits by now. So you're shooting for 220 total. So if you have 140 to 150, you're right on track. If you're below that number, your counselor will be chatting about that with you during your one-on-one to figure out how to get back where you need to be. I talked about elective credits already. We do have, we'll talk a little bit about summer school. I don't yet have much to say about that because we're waiting on information, but there are ways for students to recover credits if they need it. So I have a slide about that in a little while. And then, like I said, we love students to look at their own transcript in Infinite Campus under documents.
Hey, Becky.
Yes.
While we're here looking at transcripts, can you show the 5 of Gov and Econ and just kind of go over that a little bit more? Because I think it's confusing a bit. And then also talk about, like, if you want to do AP of one but not the other, like, what do you do in that situation?
Yeah, I did talk a little bit about that at the front. So, so you can see here, kind of like halfway down the credit summary on the far right, you go, it goes world history, US history, gov, and econ. So 5 credits of government and 5 credits of econ are required. So, but if you were to take AP Gov, you earn 5 credits per semester. So you're actually going to be earning 10 credits of government. So those extra 5 go down to electives, by the way. But that still leaves those 5 econ credits to be earned, right? So if you take a year of AP Gov, then you'll need a semester of econ. If you take a year of AP Econ, you need a semester of Gov. You could do AP in both if you're really interested in these areas. It really can be a mix mash of whatever the options are, but you do need to earn at least 5 credits of Gov and Econ. I hope that was clear.
Yeah, I was trying to ask a bit of a leading question. Basically, if we have students that do that, a lot of times they'll have an unscheduled period the other semester, or they might pick up something like a PE class or a TA to fill that other semester if they're doing, say, AP of one, but not the other.
Yeah, and I will say, just to like anticipate any potential disappointment that might happen if this happens, a lot of students want to get their, say they take AP Gov, because that's more common than AP Econ. So students take AP Gov and then they have one semester of Econ. And they say, I'm going to take 5th period Econ first semester. So second semester, I can have an unscheduled 5th period. Well, like only about half of the students who are planning that can have their unscheduled period second semester, right? The other half have to have it first semester. So you might get your schedule and see, wait, I have an unscheduled period first semester, but I wanted it second semester. And while we do try to get as many in as possible, there will be students that end up with it second semester. And honestly, I will say, I think some students learn that that was actually better because you also have your college applications that you're working on first semester. So sometimes it actually works out better, but that is just to front load that because that does happen. And so sometimes students are disappointed when it works out that way. Okay. So summer school and credit recovery, I wish that I had more information to share with you. We've been getting some, some information about summer school and then maybe, oh, maybe that's not what we're doing. So they're still sorting that out. And so we will get that information to you as soon as we have it to share. We do have an online credit recovery program for seniors who are credit deficient. This is not for people who want to go straight to a 4-year. This is someone who is planning to earn their high school diploma and then maybe going to community college or trade school. And this is an online program that you do during senior year. Again, if you need that, your counselor will be talking to you about it. But in terms of remediation summer school, like you earned a D in US history and you want to go straight to a 4-year, so you want to make it up in the summer, we are still waiting on the specifics of a program from the district is kind of as much as I can say about that. And as soon as we have more information about the options that are going to be offered, we will share them. Okay, so college and career. So that's kind of everything for classes. And again, we have a Q&A at the end. I don't know if any questions have come in, Kelly, that you think I should answer now.
I'm addressing some clarifications in the Q&A, but others I want to save till the end.
Okay. All right. So college and career planning, right? This always creates a lot of questions. It creates anxieties in some parents and students because some students are yet to really have figured out what they want to do after high school. And we're here to say that is normal. all of the things that could be happening now, like you absolutely know where you want to go to college and what you want to major in and what your career is, all the way to I truly have no idea yet. All of that is totally common and normal. So I want to normalize that. You might still really just be figuring it out. And so we have some tools to help with that. We introduced this new program to the students last week or the week before. It's called School Links. Students access through their ClassLink portal. Parents can have access to. We'll talk about that in a minute. But it's our new college and career platform. So it's a place so it says personal discovery. So in there are personal assessments, right, to kind of figure out what skills do I have and how do those skills connect to different careers. There's tons of career information in there, videos, different sources of information about what different careers are, what different jobs really look like, what do the day-to-day of different jobs look like. There's a resume building tool. We have scholarship information in there. This is where you're going to research your colleges, and I'll show you the more detailed info in that in a few slides. There's such great data in the program that we were able to pull over from our last program of how our students have done when they've applied to different schools. So students can have a real educated approach to where they should apply based on their own profile. This is also where you track your applications. You do not apply through school links, right? You apply through either the college or the common application. But this is the program where you communicate to your counselor where you are applying, because it is the program that we use to send your transcripts, send your letters of recommendation. So you'll be putting the colleges in there that you're applying to, and then that's how we'll get their information out to them. And this is also where you sign up for college visits at Cal High. I think we have like over 100 colleges come to Cal High every fall. So usually it's seniors that are there, and you see, oh, I was thinking about applying to that school. They're going to be here next week. I'll sign up and go chat with them. And it's always a good way to make a connection with the people from that school. So this is kind of a quick look at what it looks like when students log in. There's activities in there for them, like I said, different assessments to do. We'll be assigning things for them to do throughout the year next year. Like you can see one on there now. It says complete campus lifestyle assessment. Many of our students have already done that. So we'll be assigning things like that, again, just to make sure that students are thinking about the right things as they are approaching this big decision that they need to make. The college researching, career researching, there's a finances tab in there. I can't even read that from back here what that last one is, but there's lots of information in there. Some parents asked about, how much do counselors help with this whole process? With choosing the major and thinking about where they're going to college. We aren't going to recommend your student applies to certain colleges, right? That's kind of overstepping for a school counselor. But what we can do is show them how they can do the research, right? Provide the tools, walk through it with them so that they and you as their families can help make really educated decisions about that. And again, like choosing a major, they can come to us with like, I'm kind of interested in this and that. Like, what is that? What is a college major that encompasses that, right? Those kinds of things we certainly help with. And then again, pointing to these great tools that we have available. So when it comes to the college searching tool, I just love this so much more than just like taking to Google, because we've got very specific data loaded in here that Google doesn't have. So when you go into the searching tool, it kind of automatically assumes you want to go to school in California. And a lot of people don't want to do that. So you can easily remove that filter. In that top search bar, you can type in location, you can type in majors, you can add all kinds of things from those drop downs there across the top, and it will filter the schools that have what you're looking for. And honestly, I think the best tool in this whole program are these scattergrams. And so I have San Jose State here as an example. And you'll see that the little green dots on there are students of ours over the last 10 years or so that have applied to San Jose State and gained admissions. And when you're actually in the program, you can hover over the green dots and a little pop-up will open that will tell you what that student's GPA was. And so you can start to see like where you fit in terms of the profile that this college typically looks for from a Cal High student, right? That's the really important part of this. This is Cal High data. District data is also in there. And I really love, I don't know if I have it on here. When you are in there yourself, you can click over to where it says acceptance by GPA. It has like a bar graph. And so you can see, where's my GPA? Where do I fall in all of this? And, you still have a semester's worth of grades to earn, right? Before your GPA for college admissions is done, right? So you can use that to help make decisions for yourself now. Like, oh, I think I need to improve a little bit if I want to apply to this school. I'm going to really make sure I get help in history or whatever, right? You still have time to make some adjustments. So this is just excellent information when it comes to figuring out where do I fit in terms of what this school might be looking for. We really just drive this home for everybody, because what we notice is that this experience brings up a lot of anxiety and fear in a lot of people. And for us, we would really love to see people really kind of leading with excitement instead of fear. The fact is there's thousands of colleges in our country, truly. I've been in this district for almost 20 years, and I have yet to have a student who really wanted to go straight to a 4-year and met all the requirements that they needed to do and didn't get into any college, right? If you apply appropriately and you have an open mind about what this next step might look like, there is absolutely a path for you in this. And so this like shortage mindset that is being drummed up through I don't know what we don't need to listen to that. There are so many options for our kids. So we really find that students typically all want to apply to the same colleges, right? And that's kind of what makes this competition happening. So because there's thousands of schools to choose from, we really want students to cast a wider net to find other schools that are a really good fit for them. So what does fit mean, right? We're going to talk about that. So these schools, sometimes these out-of-state schools, people assume they're going to be more expensive. Maybe not, right? Maybe not. So there's a lot of scholarships and agreements that schools have that can actually make this just as affordable as an in-state school. So focusing on fit, like what does that mean? First of all, studies tell us that students are successful where they are happy and feel included. Those two things are what make a successful student in any environment. So we're looking for 3 things when we're focusing on fit. Academic, obviously, right? This is for their education. So students, does this place have a major that you're interested in? That's important, right? That's the most important one. Does your student academic profile fit what they typically accept? Preferred learning style and environment, right? Do you want to go to a big university where maybe you have lecture style classes, or would you really thrive in a smaller setting where you have a much smaller, more intimate classroom setting? Like those are things to think about for you. Socially, social fit, living arrangements. Do you want to live in a big city? Do you want that small college town feel? What are the extracurricular options at a school? Do you want Greek life? Do you want intramural sports? Like, what is it that you're hoping to experience while you're in college? Political climate, if that's important to you, right? Sometimes there's a big culture shock for people when they go to a place that's so different from where they grew up. And that's not a bad thing, but it's something to think about and be prepared for if you make that choice. And then obviously financial, right? It needs to be a financial fit for your family. You need to have ways that the financial stress of it all isn't going to, again, interrupt that feeling happy part, because that's really stressful. So thinking about scholarships and financial aid, the cost of the tuition, it's really important to think about living expenses in the city that you're living in. Obviously, if you want to go and live in Manhattan, your living expenses are going to be a lot more than if you go to a small Midwest college town, right? So those are all things to think about when you're deciding where to apply. We like to talk a little bit about college myths because we hear these things often. I had a conversation just today about with a student about kind of fear of getting a B, right? You don't have to get straight A's. Perfection is not the expectation. Colleges don't expect you to be perfect either. We certainly don't. And we really don't want students feeling like they have to be perfect, right? There's really been an uptick of students wanting to drop classes because they might not get an A. And we are so against that, because again, that's telling yourself, I have to be perfect or it's not good enough. And so that's just not the way that it is. Students get B's, students get C's, students get D's and still get into college, right? So that's that. So we really we don't want to talk about good colleges. That's just not really a thing, right? Like there's so many different ways that a college is good for one student and maybe not good for another. So there's really no such thing as a good college for like every student. We already talked about this before, but you do not have to take outside classes or summer advancement or else you're behind. That's not true. If you're spending all your summers doing advancement and courses, then you're missing out on something else too, right? You're missing out on kind of maybe figuring out what it is you really want to do, or having downtime, or spending time with family, or having a job. There's other things that are also valuable to do in the summer that might not go in your transcript. You do not need to take as many APs as possible, right? You don't have to take any APs at all, actually. I kind of talked about this one before, but the harder a college is to get into, the better it is. No, all that means is more students want to go there than they can accept, right? That they can't accept everyone who wants to go. So that doesn't make it better for you. I've had students and parents say this to me before. Well, that school has a really high acceptance rate, so it must not be very good. And I really want to challenge that thinking, because if a school is, again, it has all the boxes that you're looking to check and it's easier for you to get into and it has a higher acceptance rate, like that's great, because you found a school that you can have a pretty good chance of getting admitted and it has everything you need. That's a win-win. And then again, selectivity and perceived prestige does not equal success, right? It's that happiness and feeling included and feeling like you fit. Like those are the things that are going to make a successful student at that school. Okay, so this is a slide we took directly out of the presentation we gave to the students last week. So students, you've seen this. So creating a balanced list is one of the homework assignments that we are giving students over the next, say, like 6 months before we come back to school with you in August. This is what you're working on. So all wisdom on this topic will say about 10 colleges total. We've seen that number really take a huge uptick in the last, say, 5 years. It's really interesting data to look at to see how many more colleges students are applying to since even just like 5, 6, 7 years ago. It's increased a lot. You're only going to go to one school, so you don't need to apply to many. But what's really important is you figure out the right balance of which schools am I applying to. So there's likely schools, target schools, reach schools, and wildcard schools. Likely schools are ones that you are very likely to gain admission to based on your qualifications, greater than an 80% chance. And that data I pointed to before in the scattergram is what helps you figure this out. So 2 to 3 schools in that category. So the important thing with these likely schools are they are also schools that you're super excited about going to. If you can find 10 schools you'd be super excited to go to, again, a total win in this whole game. Target schools, these are ones that you have a decent chance, right? 30 to 80% chance. There's no guarantees in college admissions, but like, yeah, based on what I'm seeing here, like there's a really good chance I'd get in. Those reach schools are a less than 30% chance. Maybe a few of those. And then wildcard, you certainly don't need to apply to any of these schools, but these are schools that no matter what your GPA is, there's a good chance you won't be admitted because they only admit like 5% of the applicants. And I think we, living in the Bay Area where we are just a little bit of a disadvantage in terms of our thinking about all of this, because these are the schools that are right here in our backyard and right here in our state, right? We have Stanford, UCLA, Berkeley, all right here around us that are schools that are very difficult to get into. So I think it makes us feel like getting into college is so hard. Getting into those colleges is really difficult for sure. So these are schools that, again, no matter your GPA, you might not get in, right? So you don't need any of those schools on your list. But what we don't want to see is just like you putting more and more and more of those schools on your list, because it doesn't, a couple of things, right? Getting a lot of rejection doesn't feel good. So even if you're thinking, I probably won't get in, but I just want to see, even those no's don't feel great over and over. And that's not to mention the cost of applying to schools, right? It's like $70 to $100 for every college application. So if you're applying just to see, you might want to think about if that's a good idea for you. Okay, I have a couple, I've talked a little bit about this before in the presentation, but just important things to think about. So there was some a study conducted to see does it matter if I go to a highly selective, expensive college? Does that have a measurable impact on my future salary and greater life expectancy? Greater life satisfaction? No, the answer is no. So the selectivity of your college does not create a better life outcome for you. So that's what the studies tell us. And again, same thing in this one. What we're really looking for is this sense of purpose, physical, social, financial security, community, those are the things that matter. Researchers found that the prestige of the college you attended, quote, hardly mattered at all to people's current well-being or work lives. So just play that around. I know, again, like I said, we live in an area where there's a lot of that around us, but it's important to focus on finding a spot that you are going to be successful and happy at. That's what matters. Okay, so I've linked the junior presentation in here that we gave to the students. It's very similar to what we've already gone through, but it's there if you want to take a look at it. Again, we'll post the slides so you can click into this on our website.
Okay, too. Sorry to interrupt.
Nope.
We did get questions about if parents have access to school links, and the wonderful Miss Blaney here actually sent out an email. What was that, Becky? Last week, maybe?
Yeah.
Sorry, I got you a sip of water. That summarized what we talked about with your students, but also told you how you can log into school links yourself if you want to check out our new platform. So you have access.
Thank you for saying that, because I was like, I thought I added a slide about that, but no, I put it in the email. That's why it's not here. Yeah, I did send an email that showed you how to get in if you want to take a look at it. Parents typically have viewing rights in programs like this, so you might not be able to do everything your student can do in terms of like adding colleges to their list and things like that, because they want the students to be doing that on their own. But you can go in there and research the schools, and so you have something to talk about with your students. Okay, so we also have posted on our website a senior guide that I don't even know how long this guide has existed. It's predates me many years working at Cal High. And so, but the great thing about it is we update it all the time. So if you've got a question about college applications, the Common App, whatever it might be, it's a really good first place to look. Sometimes students send us the questions about these things over email. Maybe you send it to us on a Saturday night, and obviously we're not going to see it till Monday. But this is much more immediate answers that you might need as you're working through this process. So please check that out. I love this slide because we always get questions of like, what should I be doing right now? Like, what is my task? And so these are things that you could be thinking about doing. You see they're on the right, spring of junior year. This is where we are. The first and foremost thing that you need to do is focus on your current courses, right? And again, this just talking about college admissions, right? Your transcript is the thing. It's the most important thing. So doing well in your classes now is what you want to be focused on doing. That's it. You should also be researching colleges, thinking about where you might want to apply. Create a resume if you haven't done that yet, because college applications do ask about your activities and how long you've been doing it and how many hours a week and things like that. And so you want to start writing those things down if you haven't already. So get that going. The SAT and ACT, I will talk about that in a slide or two. Register for it if you need it. And then towards the end of the school year, asking teachers for letters of rec if you know you'll need them. Many schools do not require letters of recommendation. Like all of our CSU and UC schools do not read letters of rec. So if those are the schools you're applying to, you do not need them. But if you're applying to private or out-of-state schools, you might. So you could start asking your teachers at the end of this semester or in the fall if you later decide you need one, right? We don't want teachers writing letters if they aren't going to be read by anybody. So we want to wait until we know we need them, but you can check in with your teachers about that. Another one I like to add that I didn't add on here, or maybe it's in the summer. Let's get through summer and see if it says it. If necessary, this summer, remedying any grades that are D's or F's. So again, like I said, I don't know what our summer school has to offer quite yet, but as soon as we have that information, we'll be sending information to all of you in all of your different potential situations of how you could remediate if needed. Oh, here we go. Virtual and in-person college visits. I love the idea of just visiting a college that's nearby. We are so lucky because we have many. You know, you go to East Bay, you could go to Berkeley. There's choices, San Francisco State. There's a few colleges in San Francisco. Even if you don't really have interest in that school in particular, but just to start to get an idea of what a college campus feels like, because you might not have really ever been to one before. And so just popping in, thinking about this maybe during spring break or the summer of like, let's just take an hour drive into the city and just kind of wander around San Francisco State. Let's just kind of see what it's like, because it starts to give you a little bit more context for what a college campus could feel like, right? And we're just lucky because we have so many nearby. So that college list it's starting to come together in the summer. Again, take the SAT or ACT if you need to, and then consider getting a job or volunteering, something to add some non-academic experience to your resume. Brainstorming for college essays. We'll talk a little bit about that later too. And I really like that last line: sleep, relax, read, have fun. This is your last like high school summer. So be thinking about that too, making sure that you're making time for experiences with friends and things like that. And then finally, I don't want to really talk a whole lot about fall of senior year yet. We're going to do another night like this in September, where we're going to talk about all the ins and outs of transcripts and letters of rec, how to get your colleges into school links, what you need to do for all of that. We are going to walk you through all of that step by step, and you really just don't need to worry about that quite yet. Okay, SAT and ACT. Frankly, many students do not need to take these exams anymore. So there are schools that, obviously with COVID, things were adjusted and many schools never went back. Some highly selective schools have started requiring them again. I have a link on there for you to see. You can look up the schools you're thinking about and see if they want you to take them. Test blind versus test optional. Test blind means that these schools will not see these scores to make their admissions decisions. So UC, CSU, our two main systems of university here in this state are test blind. They will not view a test score for admissions. So you don't need to take the exam if that's your path. Some schools are test optional. So usually they have a policy where it won't hurt you. It can only help you. And then you can decide, if you decide to take it, you can decide whether or not you want to send the exam score. Community colleges do not require these tests, and you'll never have to take them. Some students think, well, if I started at community college and then I transfer after 2 years, do I have to take the SAT then? No. SAT is only for direct to for your university after high school. I also want to say we're going to talk about, okay, we're going to get to community colleges in just a minute. All right, next thing is NCAA eligibility. There are there's a few other things that students need to do if they want to play sports in college. So that's kind of a rare situation though. So if you are hoping to play sports at the collegiate level, right? That's what you're hoping to do. Please make sure you tell your counselor that during your junior grad check in March, because there might be another academic elective we need to add. Sometimes there are additional academic requirements for NCAA that vary a little bit from A through G. So if that's your plan, we want to make sure that we know that so that we can advise you correctly. Okay, other options. I always like to say this to students, and we've already said this to the students, is we talk a lot about going straight to a 4-year. And that's only because there's a lot of things to say. It's not because we think it's the best path or even a better path for many of our students. Community college is such an excellent opportunity to continue your education in a much more affordable way. Much more affordable, like to the point that it's free for the first 2 years at both DVC and Las Positas, given some certain requirements. So it is an excellent way to save money, especially if you are thinking that you might be going on to a career that requires some kind of graduate school, right? Saving money for those first 2 years is such a great idea. So we really encourage this path for a lot of our students. And again, you're going to hear us talking a lot about 4-year college, but there's more that you need to do now, more we need to tell you now to do that, not because we think it's better. It's a great place to explore. Maybe you're not yet sure what you want to study in college. This is a great place for you to take classes here or there and kind of figure out what you're into. Typically with smaller classes, it's closer to home, right? There's just more support. So you, again, maybe you're not quite ready to live on your own yet. right? Maybe it's just not there. And again, maybe financially, that just is not feasible now. We happen to have some excellent community colleges right here. I mean, DVC has a San Ramon campus. We do like to encourage students to go to the Pleasant Hill campus for some of their classes because it really does feel like a college campus over there. It's a big school. It definitely has a college campus feel to it, the DVC in Pleasant Hill. Obviously, it's a little more of a drive, but it's nice to have that feeling so you don't feel, that you're extenuating your high school experience at the San Ramon campus. There's programs for certificates, for associate's degrees. There's all kinds of training programs that are like 18-month or 2-year training programs that are there. We always laugh about a time that we went to one of their tours, and another counselor and I were like so excited about the dental hygienist program that they have. We're like, we want to go do that. This is so cool. They really do have state-of-the-art facilities, instructors. Like, I really can't say enough great things about. I just know more about DVC, so I tend to talk about more, but also Las Positas right there also has excellent opportunities for our kids to explore what they want to do training programs to go straight into careers, or transfer pathways, right? So you want to earn the 4-year degree, but you wanted to start at community college. So 2 to 3 years at community college before transferring to that university. There are transfer admission guarantee agreements that you can go with different universities. CSU has a new one now too, that where you're guaranteed admission into these universities after you meet the requirements at the community college. You can't say guaranteed admissions under any other circumstance. So it really, again, I hope I'm expressing how much this is an excellent opportunity for our kids. Okay. I have some videos in here that I'm not going to show, but they're here for you to watch. This talks about why going into a trade school is an excellent option. There is truly a shortage of skilled labor like carpentry, electricians, plumbers, mechanical, heating and air, etc. Those are things that we are always going to need. And so there is a shortage of people doing those jobs right now. Faster transition to employment. You can go into a good paying job sooner without the debt usually that's just someone might get in doing the 4-year path. Great job security again for those jobs. And sometimes students are like, I don't want to sit in an office. I need a break from like day to day sitting in desks doing this kind of traditional school. Like, I want to be outside. I want to be out and about learning, doing something with my hands, right? There's tons of great opportunities for this type of learning through DVC or through other vocational schools. I also have a little video on there with a disclaimer because I love this video, but she also says all school counselors says that everyone needs to go to college, and we do not do that. So I just like to add that disclaimer, but it's another great video about why a trade school might be a good option for you. Didn't want to do that. Okay. So they do work. You can watch them if you want. Okay. Also, maybe you're thinking about going into the military. Ms. Nichols is your girl. If you're interested in ROTC, going in straight into the military service or one of the military academies, she works with all the recruiters who come to Cal High. So if you want to talk to somebody more about that, Ms. Nichols in the College and Career Center is the person you want to talk to. She's a wealth of information anyway, but she has the direct contact to the people that you would need to talk to learn more about that path. So again, like really so many options for you after you graduate from Cal. Okay, we're wrapping up. I know we're almost at an hour here. A few final thoughts. So how can we as parents support our children through this process? One, I think there's like enough pressure, right, in the world about all of this. So we want to try to just take the pressure off of them as much as we can by keeping things like their test scores, their GPA, their college list, just private. Or if you want to share with their permission, right? So just kind of thinking about that before we take to Facebook and share. And I know we're so proud of our kids and we want people to know, but I think that once they're at this age, they want to have a little bit more say in what gets out there. We are going to encourage this, and we love you as well to include and encourage that realistic range of schools, keeping an open mind about their choices and focusing on fit, right? Is this a good fit for you? What are you looking for in this experience, and does this college have it? Keeping that college application list reasonable in length. With every added application, there's more essays, and again, it's more money, and it just becomes really stressful because it's really time consuming. So keeping in mind that our students are going to go to one college, so keeping that list reasonable in length. Helping our kids stay organized with those tasks, using a calendar, thinking about what as a family do we value, and making sure that we are approaching this in an ethical way with, again, just their success and happiness at the forefront of all the decisions we make. And finally, encouraging fun and rest. And for a lot of our kids, our parents, like, we have to require rest because some students will just go, 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 go. Maybe we have to turn off the Wi-Fi every now and then. Like, sorry, it's bedtime. You need to get to bed, right? And really kind of putting our foot down about that. Some students just are, want to just keep doing more and more. Okay, we have a couple recs here for you. A reading recommendation that we've been making over the last couple of years, The Truth About College Admissions, a Family Guide. So again, this really tries to just take the temperature down with all of this, because you really are going to be able to be more relaxed about it if you have a good education around it. So it's more than I can tell you in an hour presentation this evening. That's a great book. There's some great podcasts we've listed there. I like the Inside to College Admissions one in particular because they're short. It's like 15 minutes about this one particular thing. So you can put that on in the car, and listen to things. And really, knowledge is truly power when it comes to this, because so many things that we hear out there are not true and make us feel really stressed about this. So having real, thoughtful, accurate information, it just does wonders for the whole experience for the whole family when it comes to this. College Essay Guy, he does talk a lot about college essays, but he also talks about other things, college admissions related. And then this last one, it's a single episode that we recommend for Dear Therapists. All the counseling department, we just love this podcast episode so much because we see our students in this young girl that's called into this show, Libby. So we would love everybody to listen to that too. Again, like I said, this can help lower the temperature about this whole process for everybody. Got some helpful resources there. Again, Miss Nichols, Miss Goldenberg in the Wellness Center. I think I really talked about most of this. Free tutoring during tutorial. If your students think they need that, they can talk to their counselor or their teachers. And from there, I think we're going to go on to Q&A.
Excellent. So just starting off by saying that there are definitely some questions that ended up in the Q&A that are more appropriate for a counselor meeting. It's just so specific to a few students that if any questions like that, please have your student contact their counselor, or you're always welcome to reach out as well. That all being said, just a couple things that I want to go over. Becky, do we have a time the portal closes on March 3rd?
That's a good question. It is a manual off and on. So I think we would expect the person at the district office, when they leave work on the 3rd, to turn it off. So I'd say 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock at the latest, but you'd want to do it. Let's shoot to have it done before March 3rd. The other thing is to print the summary page. The portal still has to be open. So when they do it, they should print it directly. If you don't have a printer at home, they should print it at school the day before. So if you leave it till that day, it might be harder to do. Yeah.
Thank you. We did have some questions about like specific classes, what's one semester, what's this class about, anything like that. I'm really going to refer you to the course catalog for a more in-depth description, and the course offerings fair, which we're lucky that that's on Friday. Many of our electives that students typically have questions about, and even some of our like core classes go there to talk about their offerings. But those avenues are really the best places for questions about specific classes or programs. Could you talk a little bit about B period for seniors?
Yeah, sure. So our B period is the period at the end of the day, right? It's like after school for a lot of students if they're taking 7 classes. What we typically find with seniors is, well, first of all, most seniors don't want to take 7 classes. So they've done that already and they want to take 5 classes or 6 classes, and many of them don't want to take 7. So we don't typically put any senior classes during B period. You're not going to find senior English. You're not going to find Gov or Econ, because that's a lot of times what people think they'll do. I want to take AP Gov and I have 5 other classes I want to take. So I'll take 1 semester of Econ and I'll just take it during B period, which sounds like a great plan. But honestly, there's not enough other seniors who want to do that to justify having a class in B period for seniors. So seniors usually, if they do take a B period, which again is rare, but if they do, it's usually math that they have, because math is like a mixed grade course. So we'll usually have an AP Calc, sometimes an AP Stat during B period. So that's probably the class they would find themselves in if they were taking 7 classes.
Awesome, thank you. There was a question, and I know we touched a bit on out-of-state requirements. I do wanted to just throw in my 2 cents. I feel like the most common deviations we see of that are some states require 4 years of math. It's not a recommendation anymore, it's a requirement. And then select schools do. And again, I wouldn't say it's like the majority, but there is like a handful that do require biochem and physics. They want to see that trifecta versus California just says a life and a physical science. This is where students starting research early is always a great idea, because I know maybe there's plenty of kids out there that are like, I wouldn't choose to do that, but if I have to do that, I will. So there's that piece, or there's the piece that we were talking about of there's 3,000 colleges. If you don't want to do that, let's look at other ones. And then anything you want to add about, right? Because definitely some of the things are being impacted by budget cuts. There was a question about SAT availability. There was a question about letter of rec availability. I know we talked to students about schedule changes might not be as possible next year. So just anything you want to throw in.
Yeah. I mean, like you, we are yet to kind of know, right, what this is all going to look like and what the final plan is going to be and what the final cuts are going to be, et cetera. We are also waiting on bated breath to learn about all of that. SAT availability, in the last couple of years, we have offered it at Cal High. I do remember a comment on one of the board meetings that I watched that the superintendent say that is something that we will continue to offer. That is what he said. We do not have more information about that yet. And it was something I remember that the student board member who was there mentioned as a concern, because we know that some of our families are driving to Modesto or further to take this exam. So they say that we're offering it, and that's all I can really say right now. I don't have any more information about that. Like this year, we offered it in October, and my sense is that will be again, but I don't yet know. Also, how counselors are impacted, high school counselors are being impacted in budget cuts is also to be determined. What I know about our team is that we are going to do whatever we can to support our kids. Like that's what we do. So we're going to keep doing that. I think that a reasonable expectation would just be to just like allow for more time, right? Allow for more time for us to get back to you. If you need a letter of recommendation, asking us early, right? Like we will move heaven and earth, like we really do. We do, that's what we do. But sometimes there's just not time if we don't know soon enough. So being on top of what we're asking from you, right, is to let us know what you need. Students, read your email, students. That's how we can talk to you, right? We don't get to stand up in front of a classroom in front of you every day. So we have a Google Classroom, which most of you are in. I was checking it today. So we post things in there. We send you emails. So we request information, and we're requesting information so we can help you. So help us help you by communicating with us early. And I'd say the same goes for teachers with their letters of rec, right? It's looking like teacher caseloads might be bigger next year too. So teachers are going to have more students. We're going to have more students. So if you need something from us, we need to know maybe earlier than before. And as far as the rest of it, I just don't know.
Obviously, we weren't able, I mean, maybe not obviously. There's so many individual questions and kind of things that come up, and we start saying one thing and that might bring up other questions that you just thought of. So we can't cover everything everyone has on their mind tonight. So definitely please reach out to your counselors, or what I honestly ask of you is if at all possible, encourage your student to interact with us because we were just talking about letters of rec. We want to get to know them. We want to support them through the process. We know that you're going to have questions too, and happy to relay some of those things, but help us get to know your student by getting to interact with them starting now, starting earlier, versus really waiting until next year. So please send them our way with any questions they may have.
All right.
All right.
Well, thanks again. This is over an hour. I appreciate your attention. Almost all of you hung in there till the end. We'll post the video and the slides on our website soon. And yeah, like Kelly said, like, please, students, come and see us. We're happy to answer whatever questions come up in all of this. And we know that usually answers create more questions. So bring them our way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.